Last week we looked at the inclusion of girls and young ladies in the programs of Scouting America. This week we turn our attention to the role women have played as adult leaders in Scouting America's programs. Early in the history of Scouting, there was what was referred to as the younger boy problem. These were the younger brothers of Boy Scouts who wanted to participate in the adventures of Scouting but were under the age of 12. In England, Baden-Powell addressed the issue in 1916 with the creation of cubbing and the publication of the Wolf Cub Handbook. James E. West proposed several external solutions, but none of them really caught on. In 1920, at the first National Training Conference for Scout Executives, the needs for the younger boys were discussed without any definitive action being taken. Then in the mid-1920s, a program designed by Ernest Thompson Seton and Dr. Harold W. Hurt, a research psychologist and veteran scouter, took shape and laid the groundwork for the first adult female leaders in the history of Scouting America. We'll learn more about these early female leaders and hear the stories of 4 influential women in the history of Scouting America in this edition of Artifact of the Week. The Younger Boy program, designed by Seton and Hurt, recommended a program where groups of younger boys would be led by older Boy Scouts and would tie the program into the home, church, school, and Boy Scouting. When the cubbing program was introduced in the 1930s, dens of boys were led by an older Boy Scout called a den chief. In 1936, an unregistered den mother was added to assist the den chief, and the handbook stated that the den mother should be ready to help when needed, but she leaves the actual running of the den to the den chief. These den mothers were also part of a neighborhood mothers committee, which was designed to encourage cubs and den chiefs. And while these early den mothers were largely unregistered, registration was possible. And by 1938, 1,100 den mothers were registered with the BSA. In 1948, the den mother position became a fully registered position in the BSA. However, the role remained to support the den chief. In the mid-1950s, roles reversed, with the den mother taking over leadership of the den and the den chief assisting her in running the den. When the Webelos rank was introduced, men were registered as Webelos den leaders to help transition Cub Scouts into Boy Scouts, and from 1936 to 1967, only women served as den mothers. Then in 1967, the position was renamed den leader, and the leadership of regular dens was opened up to men for the first time. In 1969, the Cub Scout National Committee was open to women, and 3 women were added to the committee. And in 1976, the Cub Master position was opened up to women as well. In 1972, when the Explorer program went co-ed, women were allowed to fill all the adult leadership positions related to an Explorer post. 1972 also saw women being allowed to join troop committees as members, and 16 years later, in February of 1988, the BSA removed all gender restrictions on all adult leadership positions. This meant that women could now officially serve as Scoutmaster and Assistant Scoutmaster of Boy Scout troops. This change also allowed women to be elected to membership in the Order of the Arrow. When venturing was born in 1998, it started as co-ed. Since women were already allowed to serve in any leadership role in the organization, they were never barred from leadership positions in the venturing program. So with this framework behind us, let's meet several women who were trailblazers as adult female leaders in Scouting America's programs. From 1973 to 1975, Catherine K. Pollard of Milford, Connecticut served as the unofficial Scoutmaster of Troop 13 when no adult male leaders volunteered for that role. During her time as Scoutmaster, the troop more than tripled in size and produced 5 Eagle Scouts. When the BSA Executive Committee opened all adult leadership positions in 1988, Kay was recognized for her contributions 13 years earlier. She also put on her original uniform and resumed her role as Scoutmaster, this time officially. Laverne W. Parmley was among the first 3 women elected to serve on the BSA's National Committee in 1969. In 1975, she was one of the first 2 inaugural female recipients of the Silver Antelope Award, and the following year she became the first female recipient of the Silver Buffalo Award. She was also instrumental in the integration of LDS boys ages 8 to 11 into the Cub Scout program. Another of the women elected to the BSA National Committee in 1969 was Ann W. Nally. Nally, Parmalee, and Solvig Waldhorn became part of the National Cub Scout Committee during a time when the future of the program was being shaped, and their input was vital to that effort. In 1971, Nally became one of the first recipients of the Silver Fawn Award, presented for outstanding service by Lady Scouters. In 1974, the BSA announced that all silver awards, beaver, antelope, and buffalo, could be awarded to both men and women and retired the Silver Fawn Award. Interestingly, when the BSA asked if they would like to exchange their silver fawn for a silver beaver, most recipients declined. In 1974, she was awarded the silver antelope, and in 1982, she was awarded the silver buffalo. Nally led the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Cub Scout program in 1980 and wrote about Cub Scouting for Scouting magazine. In 1990, a council in Connecticut was looking for a new Scout executive. One name in the pile of applications kept coming to the top, M. Portis. M. Portis was a district executive in a neighboring council and had 14 years of experience in their professional scouting career. More importantly, M. Portis had all the qualities and characteristics the council committee sought. On December 13, 1990, M. Portis, Mary Portis, became what is believed to be the first female Scout executive. By all accounts, Mary was an excellent Scout executive, helping her council grow and improve. She was well liked by volunteers and enjoyed great rapport with donors and community members. Unfortunately, Mary's tenure was very short, only 23 months. Mary had cancer and eventually moved back home to Houston, Texas, where she passed away on November 16, 1992. John Rack, then council president, said, "She took the job on. Everything Mary did was good. She made an indelible mark." Scouting America's key three are the Chief Scout Executive, the National Chair, and the National Commissioner. Until 2018, the National Commissioner's position had been held by 10 men. That all changed when Ellie Morrison became the organization's first female National Commissioner. During her tenure, she oversaw the new unit task force, participated in the redesign of Wood Badge, and advocated for the BSA to admit girls into all of its traditional programs. Ellie was National Commissioner on February 1, 2019, the day girls were officially welcomed into Scouts BSA units. Ellie's contributions to Scouting are recognized as she has received the Silver Beaver, Silver Antelope, and Silver Buffalo awards. In addition to the artifacts already described, we also have several items on display to help illustrate the story of women in Scouting. This includes artifacts like a 1930s-era Den Mother's uniform, several Den Mother's handbooks, and early Den Mother's position patches. There are also examples of the famous yellow blouse worn by Den Mothers and later Den leaders, as well as a sample of the Oscar de la Renta uniform designed in the 1980s. Former Commissioner Ellie Morrison has also donated one of her uniforms and these items from the 2019 World Jamboree. Finally, there's an example of the Silver Fawn Award presented to women for a short period of time in the 1970s for their contributions to Scouting at the council level, much like a Silver Beaver. Before we close, there is one other group of women that should be recognized. Without these women, Scouting simply would not happen. These are Scout moms. From the moms who support their Scouts by sewing on patches, leading dens in Cub Scout packs, serving on troop committees for Scouts BSA units, organizing fundraisers to pay for the adventures of Scouting, driving Scouts to meetings, camps, and a whole variety of activities, working with their Scouts on Pinewood Derby cars and Space Derby rockets, serving as registered leaders with units long after their kids have aged out of the program, and attending high adventure bases as adult advisors so that Scouts can experience these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. A special shout out to you. And a special thanks to my wife and my mom. You're both Scout moms who've done your part to deliver the promise and benefits of Scouting to more young people than you will probably ever know. And you're there today. You watch these videos and you still help me share the stories of Scouting and its impact on our world. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of Scouting America through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.